Hey, folks, I have a huge announcement. A lot of my listeners here on the Patriot Angle podcast, along with my loyal listeners of the Patriot Unfiltered Nation here, have been asking me, Mike, you need a store. Well, your problems have been solved. We now have a storefront. Yes, the Patriot Angle podcast, with the help of some friends and others here on the Patriot Angle podcast, have developed and created a store. Yes, you can catch that store website on my Facebook page, the Patriot Angle podcast, as well as the merchandise being uploaded on Instagram. Check us out there on our social media platform, Facebook, and you can catch all of our current merchandise along with some really good hot selling merchandise on there. Guys, you got to check it out. The prices are not that bad. If you want to support this podcast and show your patriotic pride, you got to check out the merchandise. You got to check out the store. It's phenomenal, guys. Check it out today. Patriot Unfiltered store.
Rated mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Broadcasting from the Big Peach of Atlanta, Georgia. A show unfiltered, unscripted, raw. The Patriot Angle Podcast. Hey guys, welcome to a special podcast today. A lot of you know, a lot of you don't know. A lot of you that pay attention to my content have an understanding of where I've been for the last 3 days. Vacationing once again here in the sunny side of Florida, the Sunshine State. So doing a couple of podcast episodes from the Airbnb rental that I rented here in Florida, visiting some family members here, and just taking a break from the Atlanta life. So it's beautiful here. It's hot here. Had some rain yesterday. Looks like it's going to be raining again today, but that's okay. Sitting inside, enjoying, watching some news, watching some movies, just enjoying life, right? That's what we got to do, folks. We got to enjoy life. Well, we got to at least try to enjoy life because of what's going on in our crazy, out-of-whacked, unhinged society. So, with that being said, just poured myself a cup of coffee, and let's get the show started. So, with that being said, got a lot of content to talk about, and let's get it started. I want to bring on an article here that I was meaning to talk about. Some trending stuff. What's going on with the vaccines we're going to talk about. What's going on with COVID. We're going to talk about the masking hysteria, which seems to never end. You know, they're tippy-toeing around the masks. Want to get into the Olympics. Oh yeah, you're gonna love that story. So you got a lot to talk about. Got a lot to get into. I want to get into the first topic here on the show with the Hollywood angle here on the show. Actress Jennifer Aniston is now saying that she's cutting people out of her life who refused to get vaccinated. Yes, folks, this vaccine hysteria that's basically went all over the country is now affecting Hollywood. Yeah, some Hollywood elites, such as actresses and top actresses and actors, are now literally cutting, I guess, personal friends, Hollywood colleagues, and family members out of their life if they don't want to get vaccinated. Like, how the hell, folks, did a vaccine, masking, and everything else become the complete norm of this country? It's literally taken over people's lives. Literally. I don't understand it. Former Friends star Jennifer Aniston says that she's cut ties with a few people over the vaccination status. Losing Friends, actress Jennifer Aniston said that she cut ties with a few people over their decision on not getting the vaccine, and insisted that people have a moral and professional obligation to share whether or not they've been vaccinated. Oh, they do? You know, folks, I really liked this woman. I admired her. I thought she was a great actress in a lot of different big blockbuster films over the years. But to say that they have a moral and a professional obligation to share whether they got the jab or not, folks, that's your God-given right. You know, it's your First Amendment right to say if you had it or not. It's freedom of speech. If you don't get it, you know, that's your decision. If you do get it, that's still your decision, right? But you shouldn't have to explain yourself if you got it or if you haven't got it. Then the actress goes into saying that there's still a large amount of people who are anti-vaxxers or just don't listen to the facts. It's a real shame. She revealed in InStyle's September cover interview. Folks, let me say one thing. It's not a shame, again, if you are unvaccinated and you choose not to get the jab. Folks, that's your right. Personally, I can say this again and time after time. Some of my listeners know my personal insight on it. I'm not vaccinated, and I will continue to be unvaccinated because that is my personal choice, and I choose not to comply with the federal government and getting vaccinated. I don't believe in it. I don't believe the science behind it, which is very, very, very little on it. And I don't trust it. I don't know what's in this shot because still it hasn't been explained to the general public what is literally inside this shot. Oh, sure, they want you to get the damn shot, but they're not explaining just what's in the shot. So quite frankly, folks, I'm not going to get this shot, plain and simple, because I just don't know what's in it. In other news, Greyhound busing, yes, is literally being criticized with migrant crossers. Oh, you got to listen to this. A judge literally blocks Texas from halting buses of border crossers into the United States. A federal judge on Tuesday blocked Texas Governor Greg Abbott's executive order that sought to prevent non-governmental organizations such as NGOs from busing border crossers and illegal aliens into the United States land. God, forgot the words there for a minute. Let me grab a cup of coffee here before I continue here on the topic. Some good coffee. Good coffee in the morning, guys. Anyway, on to the story. This past Tuesday, a district judge, Catherine Cardon, appointed by a former President George W. Bush, issued a temporary restraining order against Abbott's order that barred NGOs from providing ground transportation to border crossers and illegal aliens who have been detained by Customs and Border Patrol. or who have been ordered removed under the CDC and Prevention's Title 42 authority. You know, we all know that the Title 42 authority came under former President Donald Trump. Didn't come under Biden. A lot of people getting confused with that Title 42 scenario. Came under Trump's executive order, not Biden. Just wanted to clarify that for anybody that was confused on that topic. The order also permitted Texas state troopers to stop any vehicle upon reasonable suspicion of transporting border crossers and illegal aliens, and to reroute such a vehicle back to its point of origin or port of entry if a violation is confirmed, as well as allowing state troopers to impound vehicles that are caught violating the order. Cardin's decision came after President Joe Biden's Department of Justice filed a lawsuit against the Texas after Attorney General Merrick Garland called the order both dangerous and unlawful. How? Let me say something. How is that dangerous and unlawful? Folks, I don't care what company you are. If you're caught transporting illegal immigrants, migrants crossing into this border, and they're using a company such as Greyhound, which is the largest company, private company of buses and charter buses in this country, they should be returned to the port of origin. And they have a right, literally, to pretty much obtain the vehicle and impound it. Sorry for your luck, but nowhere in the United States should a company, a citizen, or any of that matter be able to transport illegal immigrants. Yeah, plain and simple. Plain and simple. Cardin wrote that this court has a jurisdiction over the subject matter of this case. There is a good cause to believe it will be a jurisdiction over all of the parties, meaning that the venue of this district is proper. The United States is likely to prevail on its claims that Texas Governor Greg Abbott's executive order number GA-37 relating to the transportation of migrants during the COVID-19 disaster issued on July 28th, 2021, which is the executive order, violates the supreme cause of the United States Constitution because it conflicts with, possesses an obstacle to federal immigration law, and it directly regulates the federal government's operations. So, you know, they're going back and forth with this crap. They're saying that the executive order causes an injury to the United States and to individuals that the United States is charged with protecting, jeopardizing the health and safety of, number 3, the balance of equalities and the public interest also favor the United States. Number 4, the court requires a fuller presentation of the facts and law before entering a order on the plaintiff's application for preliminary injunction. So, you know, they're going back and forth with this, just earlier, Breitbart News reported that the latest data reveals that the Department of Homeland Security, folks, has released about 173,000 border crossers and illegal aliens into the United States interior, some of which have been found to skip out on their quarantine and continue traveling into the country despite having coronavirus. Yeah, they can care less. The Biden administration can care less too on this matter. They still are not taking illegal immigration serious. They still have the border wide open. And some of these folks that do have COVID-19 and possibly the Delta variant, they're not even quarantining these folks. They're not even saying it during press briefings of the White House. It's terrible, folks. Literally terrible. Got more to say on the show today. Don't go back after. We're going to come back right after these words. Don't go back. As you can tell, I'm getting tongue tickled here. I got to grab another cup of coffee. Be right back after these words. Hey, folks. This episode is brought to you by our good friends at Teespring. Head over to teespring.com, guys. They have like thousands of different online storefronts from different types of merchants selling all types of merchandise, whether it's political, science, comedy, just about anything that you can think of is on Teespring. Head over to Teespring. Don't forget that you heard it on the Patriot Angle podcast, guys, and you're going to love some of that stuff. I found some really cool stuff on Teespring. Funny comedy memes of t-shirts. I mean, you got to check it out, guys. Teespring.com. Like I said, don't forget you heard it on the Patriot Angle podcast, guys. Yeah, let's go, guys. Let's go. Today is on.
You mentioned St. Louis. I do want to get your reaction to a big story coming out of St. Louis. The governor of Missouri, a Republican, has pardoned Mark and Patricia McCloskey, who were famously photographed pointing guns at protesters during June of 2020 in those demonstrations in St. Louis. You were actually among the marchers who encountered the McCloskeys that day. Mark McCloskey at the Republican convention called you the Marxist liberal activist leading the mob through our neighborhood. What is your reaction to this pardon?
It is absolutely unbelievable. There are other people that there are pardons that we have been asking for, pardons that actually should happen in Missouri, and that was not one. That was not one. They stood there, they pointed their guns, totally reckless, to a group of nonviolent protesters walking down a street that had no clue that they lived there, didn't care that they lived there, didn't know them, didn't want to know them. Mark McCloskey is an absolute liar. He has spat on my name, and because of that, his day will come. You will not be successful in all that you're trying to do when you are hurting the very people that are out trying to save lives. Nothing good comes from that. And he can try it.
What the hell is this lady talking about? Apparently you, lady, haven't watched the full detail of that article. They were walking down the sidewalk. No, they weren't they were walking down the sidewalk, but they literally ambushed their gate, their security gate into their home. They were nonviolent protesters. Again, another big lie. They were violent protesters. They went on their property. When somebody goes onto somebody's property, another person's property, that becomes a threat because you don't know who the hell that person is, what their intentions are, and what they want to do, right? You don't know if they have a gun, a knife, a machete. It could be anything. A brick, a piece of wood. You don't know. So I'm glad the state leadership pardoned these couple, the McCloskeys, for defending their homes. Their home. For defending the home. I'm glad. They have a right. They have a right under the Second Amendment of gun rights in this country. Yes, we still have gun rights in this country, folks, for reasons. Okay? They are registered gun owners. They have a right to come on their property with weapons, okay, in their hand to defend a mob of protesters, in my personal opinion, to be punks. If you come on my property with that group or any type of group of people and shouting and yelling, you're damn right I'm going to come out. I'm going to come out with my dog. I'm going to come out with my gun. I'm going to defend my property. They have a right. Hey, listen to the lady. They were waving guns recklessly. They were defending their home, lady. Literally, defending their home. What right do you have as a journalist to say otherwise? This lady's stupid. That's what's wrong with this country. Literally wrong with it.
But I will not stand by and allow him or our governor to hurt the very people that are doing the work that they should be doing.
And what's that? What's that?
There are other people, Governor Parson, that you should be looking at. We have an activist that's been sitting for such a long time. Sitting. Do something. Actually show up and be the governor of all the people of Missouri. Not just those that follow your type of politics that actually hurt black people, that actually hurt brown people, that actually hurt people who are unhoused.
Oh, it's a race card.
Our LGBTQ community, that actually hurt people who are of the Muslim faith, people who are struggling in this country, and people that are burdened differently than you. Stand up and be the governor of everybody. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, he was being the governor of everybody. He's pardoned two people that have a right as gun owners to defend their property. When you have a mob of people, let me explain it again. Maybe the words aren't coming through your head, lady. When you have a mob of people, it doesn't matter if it's 1, 2, 3, 20, 60, 70, 80 people that swarm your property, okay? Shouting, obscene gestures. First of all, they don't have a right to be on your property. That's private property. Do they pay the taxes? Do they pay the mortgage? Do they pay everything that includes that home on that property? No. They don't have a right to be on that property for one reason. It's not public property. It's private property. It's the McCloskeys' home of residence. If it was public property that's open to the general public, then I can see otherwise. But when you are on private property that you don't pay for, that is private, lady. I hope you understand the differences between private and public property. They're two different comparisons. Two different comparisons. And then she goes on to it in closing. Listen to this crap.
I'm Chris Cuomo. Yeah. Welcome to Primetime. Yeah. We're focused on COVID here, especially until we get the Delta variant under control.
That's my next article. I do apologize for that. I want to get into this Chris Cuomo topic here. With that being said, guys, I kind of leaked it into the show here. Let's listen to it because I'm fed up with the whole this lady mocking the McCloskeys. Literally, they have a right to defend their property. Let's move on to other topics. I don't want to bombush my show here with this whole topic because it's crazy. More on the Chris Cuomo scenario. Check this out, guys.
For now, as you know, it's getting worse. But as we'll discuss tonight, there is an increasing response from leaders and citizens. The president today went after specific state leaders to change course.
Some governors aren't willing to do the right thing to beat this pandemic. I say to these governors, please help. But if you aren't going to help, at least get out of the way.
Now, Biden targeted the governors of Florida and Texas, who were both Republicans, but it was about banning mask restrictions and what he sees as acts of political defiance. What we know is those two states are a third of all the cases in the United States right now. Florida leads the nation in hospitalizations, breaking its own record with more than 10,000 COVID patients in a single day. Texas is second in line with more than 6,600 hospitalizations. Remember, hospitalizations are a lagging indicator. You got to have cases first, and then a small percentage of them become hospitalizations. So that tells you something about all the cases they had up to this point. Hospitalizations on their own have topped 50,000 nationwide for the first time since February. More than 80,000 new cases a day, more infections than this time last summer. Half the country is fully vaccinated now, and yet we still have this many cases. Why? We'll discuss with the Surgeon General in a moment. So, how does President Biden turn this pandemic around? A national vaccine mandate off the table. Not so much as is being reported in some places because he can't. I don't think it's about can. I think it's about should. Okay? By the way, on the can level, the legal level, the delay in the FDA approval of the vaccine does not help the legal cause for a federal mandate. But this is really about whether he should. The potential backlash, problems enforcing violations. So instead, Biden thanked companies like Walmart, Google, Netflix, and Disney for imposing vaccination mandates on their own. And he tipped his hat to New York City on its big news today that he says he hopes other cities and states will follow suit. So what?
All right, first of all, I want to say here that was CNN's Cuomo open up his show. Also, too, if you noticed, he opened up the show, folks, by ignoring brother criticizing Florida and Texas, saying vax have rights infringed upon by the unvax. Folks, there shouldn't be violations. I got into this topic earlier on the show, in this episode. You should not be literally criticized if you don't want to get vaccinated. What the hell happened to my body, my choice? Literally. What the hell happened? What the hell happened? Here's Governor Ron DeSantis saying this right here. Check this out.
And did that and still contracted it, okay? So let's just be real here.
Yeah, let's just be real here. If you notice, too, on this story, you have Joe Biden literally demanding both governors, which I'm going to get into this topic shortly right now because it has to be talked upon. Folks, we are in a war with this crap in this country. For the last year and a half, we've been dealing with this crap. And then you see the big article, the big headline there on CNN, crooked CNN. DeSantis downplays crisis as Florida becomes COVID epicenter. No, he's not downplaying the crisis. He's allowing citizens to have their rights being preserved. We still have rights and liberties in this country, do we not? Oh boy, this I'm telling you, folks. This is getting a little neurotic. This is getting a little crazy. I'm telling you, I don't know what else to start. I do not know what else to start. In other news, I want to get into other news here. I don't, I kind of touched on the Biden to Florida and Texas governors saying that if you won't help, get out of the way. They are helping, folks. They are helping. Okay? But if you don't want to have people, if the people don't want to get vaccinated, that's their God-given right, folks. You cannot force this damn mask and vaccination down people's throats. And we're clearly seeing that across the country. You can't force it. Florida Governor DeSantis, Texas Governor Abbott, understand it. They cannot force it upon their citizens in their states. They cannot. What Biden wants to do, folks, okay, is he wants governors and local leadership to force the mandates, force the vaccinations to its people in the state. And Florida and Texas is not doing it. They won't do it. But Biden has to say, oh, if you won't help, get out of the way. Oh, so if they're not going to do the dirty deed of Biden, then Biden is literally gonna do it himself, right? Pretty much, right? It's coming out of Representative Kevin McCarthy saying that Democrats want to control us. You're damn right they want to control us. They want to control every little scenario in this country. They're on a power trip, folks, to literally try to take over this country. Literally. Folks, I'm going to close it out right here. I just noticed I'm on a short period of time here. I want to get into other things here. I will get into other topics here later on tonight. We're having a Twitch panel. So join us on Twitch as I get into the same topics here that I'm talking about this morning. So join us on Twitch. I'm going to get into a lot of heated topics, a lot of topics that even the mainstream media don't even want to touch on. So join us on Twitch, guys. We got a lot more to say on the show on Twitch later this evening. With that being said, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you tonight.
You just heard an episode of the Patriot Angle Podcast, an Anchor platform.